Proper, go.
We're live right now. Hey, everybody, welcome
Very
to
proper.
We're Wednesday. How you guys doing?
They're not saying it.
They didn't say anything. Oh my
So you have to
gosh.
be louder, Joe. They can't
Oh,
hear
sorry.
you.
How are you guys doing? How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good.
How are you doing, man?
I'm fabulous. Princess, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Excellent.
How about
All
you,
right.
chap?
Chat, you guys look great. Hey, we got some greats.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, you guys are great. Hey, this is Don't
You
Worry
are great.
Wednesday. This is the show that's really all about you guys. It's about, if you have anything that you're going through, anything on your mind, challenge or struggle or whatever, feel free to post it in the chat. You can send us an email, dww@bss.studio. You can put it on our website at bss.studio. You can also message us on Discord, and I believe those will be coming up in the chat very shortly. Our Discord
There it is.
stuff. Yep, there we go. And feel free to just send us a direct message. If you'd like to remain anonymous, the best places to do that would be through Discord or through the email address. Just let us know you'd like to remain anonymous, and or else we'll ask you, and then you can
And then
verify.
I'll get a little bit weird once you verify that you want to be anonymous. Yeah, in the
Yes.
chat
Yes.
for everybody to see.
Right. Yes. So, but anyway, we are not professional therapists or counselors or psychiatrists or psychologists or anything like that. We're not a substitute for that type of therapy. We just want to be your friend. We want to help in any way we possibly can. Just pull up alongside you, and hey, encourage you, love you, maybe offer a little perspective, because sometimes an outside perspective can go a long way. When you're right in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff that you're going through, it's tough to see the whole picture because you're dealing with one thing right after another and you're focused on those particular things. But then to have somebody from outside that viewpoint take a look at it and, share a little perspective can be really, really helpful sometimes. But mostly, we just want to love you. We want to make you know that you're all right, and that you're not alone. That this is stuff that people go through, and we want to just help in any way we can. So anyway, that's that. I already asked Ryan how he's doing. I'm Joe. You see my name right here. Princess is our chat room hostess, and she keeps us on track, and she adds to her own duties all the time. It seems like now it started off she was just chat room hostess, then she was cataloging all of our stuff, and then she keeps us on track. She's like our timekeeper when we pay attention.
She posts the links for us as well as our
She posts the
Discord.
links. I mean, she has this ever growing and expanding, role. And it's funny, we don't ever tell her to
to do any of it. She just does it. It's great. Right. She knows what needs to be done. She does it.
Yes. I'm sorry. I had to laugh. Princess put a little chat in the other chat. It said, "Speaking of which, speak less of me and more of the show," which is great. She's so humble and wonderful. Princess, you're amazing. I just need to let you know that. And above me is the man, Static P, Ryan.
I am the man. Whenever they want to stick it to the man, I'm the one that gets stuck. So
stick it to the man,
guys, stop sticking it to the man. It's starting to get, the wounds, they're not healing anymore. You're going to have to stop sticking it to the man, if you could please. Thanks.
Yes. But it's so much fun to stick it to the man.
It
stick
is
it
fun. I know
Neosis.
It's fun to stick me, but you got to stop.
Well, good luck. If you're the man, you're gonna get stuck.
I sure am, but I'm also the man on top. So
there you go.
What I say goes, and
that's right.
And that's
that's right. So anyway, yeah. So welcome everybody. You guys in the chat look great. We've got a whole list of topics here from people that have posted previously. I'm going to go through that list of names, and we're going to just get rolling here. So the list is as follows. Ian Lam, Ezekiel Games, Dracon, LG, Toast, Immature Success, Joe B, Anonymous, Baka, and another anonymous poet. And
Hmm.
so if you're anonymous, you don't have to let us know in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
but, but maybe wherever you sent the message, um, you can let Princess know in Discord or myself. My Discord is open.
Yep. Mine
Um,
as well.
so, yep, you can let us know you're here. Baka is totally not here, so we should totally do his while he's not here, I think.
Baka's not here? Huh. That's so weird. Because, like, I thought I read him. I don't know. My brain must be off today.
Is your brain off?
It might be because it says I read Baka Breaker and then he says I'm totally not here. So I guess he's not here.
Right. Your brain is off.
My brain is off.
Off the chain.
Off the charts. Freaking smart.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, something. Thanks for that one. You're so smart now.
You're welcome. I love you.
Mm-hmm. I love you too, man. You're the best.
All right. Well, so I say we start with Bacchus since that was
Okay.
the first one, and he's totally not here with his name in the
Mm-hmm.
chat. So I think
Let's do it.
that'd be a good idea. And yeah, so that link is coming soon here. I got. Oh my gosh, I don't even have everything open I need yet. Oh wow. I'm off kilter. See, you're off the chain. I'm off kilter.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Look out. Look out below. Here comes Joe.
That's a nice rhyme.
Yeah. All right, there's the link. I'll verify it for you. Hey, it's there. It's legit.
Perfect.
So, without further ado, Princess, would you like to read the topic?
I would be honored to. I've brought this this is Attempting to Suppress from Baka. I've brought this up in the past, yet not as the main topic. I know I have major anger issues, and with the small bits of advice that I've gotten previously has helped. Yet it seems like my anger just keeps boiling up. Not that I've blown my lid like I have in the past. Recently, I've seen that when I feel my anger boiling, I become quiet and fill my head with lies, like blaming my anger on things that have nothing to do with it. The one thing I hate pushing my anger onto is my body shape and my hatred for it. I feel good that I've lost 20 pounds since the start of 2021. I still want to lose more weight, but I have this feeling my anger is kind of clouding the image that I want to have for myself. This anger drives me insane whenever I'm alone, and now it seems to be pulling me away from others when I'm angry. I always get the urge to punch something. So I kind of want to get a punching bag so I don't hurt my hand when I get the urge to punch something. In the end, I want to control my anger in its entirety, yet it seems out of the picture. From Baka.
Wow. Boy, Baka, I sure do appreciate you bringing this up because I think this is an issue that a lot of people have a challenge with. I know that I struggled with this for a long time in my younger years, and I still, sometimes will have trouble controlling emotions from time to time, and it's not always. Most of the time now, they don't manifest as anger. They're usually a little bit more stressful. But yeah, like I totally get where you're coming from. And I will say this, even punching bags can hurt your hands.
Yeah, I was gonna make that comment too.
the
I punched punching bags and I was like, "Ow, that actually kind of hurts."
a better and probably less expensive option would be some kind of gloves.
Yeah.
Boxing gloves, and find a surface that you don't mind punching, because even when like in martial arts, when we would do work on the heavy bags, we'd be punching the punching bags and stuff like that. They would have us wear gloves because like you would rip apart your hands on the bags and it would still hurt. So gloves are way better. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry to hear that this is something that's going on, and congratulations on losing 20 pounds. That is great. That is great and impressive. And yeah, if you want to keep going, I think you already kind of know what to do if you've already lost 20 pounds. So that's very impressive. But I'm gonna just get right out of Ryan's way and let him get started. So Ryan.
Sure. I guess a short story. Baka, I don't know if I can relate entirely. I can, but I'm gonna give some advice and I just gonna hope that it helps, basically. When I was growing up, all of my friends, every one of them at one point or another said, I've never seen Ryan get angry. I've never seen him angry ever. Ryan, do you even get angry? And I was like, yeah, I get angry. Of course I get angry. And they were 100% convinced that I didn't have the capacity for that emotion,
Hmm.
um, which was surprising to me because I I didn't even think about that being a thing. Um, but they were all pretty sure I'd never been angry in my entire life. It was pretty funny, but I was like, oh, okay, guys, sure, whatever. Um, but and it was because I had a very high tolerance of a lot of things. Um, because I was, I was picked on here and there. They would pick on me, my friends, or whatever, just for fun. And no matter what happened, I would always be pretty calm. Um, so sometimes anger is about, first of all, anger is not a sin, right? It's important to keep that in mind. Anger is a good thing. Some people do have a higher capacity for anger. Some people do have more ability to get angry and do something when they're angry than someone like me. All right. Um, so when you're angry, an important thing to remember is it's not wrong or bad to be angry. What matters is one, what are you angry about? What are you actually angry about? Right? And trying to find that and figure that out. Because if you can do that step, it'll help clarify things in your brain so you don't act rashly or without um I guess so that you don't act out in a way that is of poor judgment, right? So whenever you're angry, the first step is to ask yourself, what are you angry about? Get to the root of it. Get to the bottom of it. Because you could say, oh, well, I'm angry because of this. Sometimes you have to go, wait a minute, is that actually it? Let's dig deeper. Is there something under that that's actually making me angry? Or is there something under that? I really like, Baka, you naturally do that. And I know that you do that because of the way that you talk to us, the things that you say about yourself, how your mind works. So I just want to say that one, you're not necessarily doing anything wrong by getting angry, and two, you're probably already taking some of the right steps
Hmm.
towards how to manage your anger, right? Um, Another thing is anger can help us do things. It can help us to move, right? You ever see? I mean, there's so many movies out there where it's anger which inspires the hero to act, right? It happens. And a lot of times when we see that in movies, sometimes we can look at it and go, wow, that's awesome. And sometimes we look at it and go, that guy is a bit insane. you know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's a little bit, that's going a little too far, right? Sometimes they do. And that's human. Sometimes we go too far. Sometimes it's about getting revenge rather than doing what's right,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that's an important thing to distinguish. Um, when you're angry, you kind of you lose yourself in that emotion and you start doing things. And a lot of times we have to remind ourselves, hey, it's not it's okay to be angry, right? It's okay. It's an emotion. You just feel it, right? It's okay to be angry. It's not okay to seek revenge. Why? Revenge is purely selfish. It's actually the same thing as envy.
Mm.
So envy So there's jealousy and there's envy, right? And we've talked about this briefly on Don't Worry Wednesday before. Jealousy is when you look at something and you want it. Usually you look at something someone else has and you want it. And that's nothing, there's nothing wrong with it. In the Bible says God was jealous of something, right? There's nothing wrong with jealousy. There's nothing wrong with having a desire for something that isn't yours. It's just the desire for wanting something that isn't yours. It doesn't belong to you, but you still want it. There's nothing wrong with that inherently. But there is something wrong with envy. Envy is when you look at something that someone else has. Like, for example, your neighbor buys a new car. It's a Ferrari. And you're like, wow, that Ferrari's hot. And so you go out there and you take a key and you key up his car. You put scratches all over it and you stab his tires. Right? That's envy. People do that in this world, right? That's when you look at what someone else has and you turn it into anger, I guess, right? And you turn it into an act of wrongdoing, right? And revenge is the same way. Revenge is much like that. It's where someone has something you want, someone's done something to you, or whatever it is. You get fueled up emotionally and you let that take control of you and you do the wrong thing because you, in your heart, want things to be different. And because you want things to be different, you act out in the wrong ways, right? So revenge is like that. We don't want to do that. The better thing to do is understand that, well, one, of course, forgiveness is important, right? And we've talked about that plenty. Justice is important, right? There's a difference between justice and revenge. When someone gets thrown in jail because they do the wrong things, right? We count that as a form of justice. We've set the laws. We've told them that's the consequence. They've gone and done it anyways, and they reap those. They reap that reward, the negative reward.
Yes.
Right. They reap what they sow. And that's justice. There's nothing wrong with that. But revenge, again, is a selfish thing. It's wanting something, honestly, you can't have, because there's no amount of revenge that can fix the past, right? It's just the way it is. So when you get angry, it's important to be logical with yourself, to remind yourself that you are a thinker, that your brain is capable of thinking a lot. And then you can take that anger and turn it into action, but make sure that action is heroic or good or centered on doing something that's improving the world, right? You see someone who does something bad and you get angry about it, go up to that person and don't punch them in the face, but say, hey, I want to be your friend because I want to influence you. And I want to teach you that what you just did was stupid. You know, that sounds dumb, but I'll tell you what, I've done that. I've literally done that.
How'd it work?
More than once. Huh?
Did they get to be your friend?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've done it a couple times in video games, and I did it a couple, actually, probably countless times on video games. People get toxic. Tell you what. But I've also done it in real life. I remember when I was in school, I did it with a couple of people who were very rude to me. And I went up to them, and instead of going like, I got angry, right? But no one could tell because I remained calm, right? And I went up there and I said, hey, that was actually really funny what you just said. We should hang out sometime. And they were like stunned. And they're like, yeah, man, cool. All right, sure. And then I got to be friends with them, right? And then they stopped acting like that. And it allowed me to get those chances when they started to act like that towards other people. I'd be like, hey, man, cool. Don't do that. That's not cool. That's not cool. You know it's not cool. And they'd be like, yeah, you're right. I'll pass that up. Yeah. And that's amazing, right? Because that actually happens. And I've actually done that. So if you can use that anger to fuel you towards the right things, anger can be an aid rather than something that is just pure hatred, right? Anger doesn't have to turn to hatred. Anger can turn to love, right? So I would say, yeah, just think about those things, right? And try to do those, try to imagine what would be the best route for you to use your anger. I can't really talk too much about anger management because I've never had to do that in my life. And so I'm very blessed. Um, I think most of the time, yeah, I've just been very blessed not to have to deal with too much of that. So I would recommend maybe seeking out anger management courses, or classes, whatever you want to call it. I know that they exist, and that I've met people who've gone through them, and it's helped them a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not already in anger management, check it out. It might be a lot more fun than you'd expect, and a lot more helpful than you'd expect. Um, yeah, you get angry at stupid things that have no meaning.
Mm.
All right, I understand. Um, yeah, and actually, sometimes I get frustrated,
Mm.
and then I like it's important for me to take a step back and recognize, Ryan, why are you frustrated? That's stupid. And I'll be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm over it. You know, and it's for me, it's a lot about recognizing, okay, what I'm doing is dumb. Stop it, and then I stop it. Right. For me, a lot of times it's taking a step back from myself, taking removing myself from my emotions for a moment to look at how dumb I look,
Mm-hmm.
and then fix it. Right. That's a lot of times what it is. Removing myself from the equation, removing myself from my emotions, and just taking an honest, logical look at it. But yeah, that's what I got. I know I talked for like 10 minutes to say very little, but I hope that it's helpful. I hope that it's helpful, Baka. I understand that it's rough. So, um, sorry, I'm not very very knowledgeable about the about this subject, but I'm gonna give it over to Joe, who's probably dealt with this more than I have. So I'm excited to see what he's got to say.
Maybe I have. I don't know. I don't know if I dealt with it well or not. um, so I remember having pretty serious anger issues for a while, and the thing that happened that I learned, um, now I see you here. It's not really anger that has a point. I get angry at stupid things that have no meaning. Okay, that's the way I was too. Angry at just dumb things, just stuff that I look back and I'm like, why would anybody ever be angry about that? Like, but there I was, right? And what turns out, a lot of times if we're under a great deal of stress, if we're under a great deal of tension, if there's a lot on our mind, sometimes our emotional control can kind of start to leak out a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
then and it's totally it happens in different ways for different people. And for a while in my life, it happened as anger. And then as I got older, it gravitated more toward despair and depression and stuff like that rather than anger. So, um, but as things start to mount on you and on your mind and tax your mind, and now I know you've been through a lot, Baka. I know a lot of stuff has happened. Your dad recently passed away. I'm sure you're in the grieving process of that, and there's all kinds of other stresses. And the more we think about these things that are stressing us out, or things that we have to take care of, or things that we want to take care of, and oh my gosh, and am I still dealing with this? And they can just kind of pile on and pile on and pile on, and before we know it, we can't really focus, and we can't focus our energy anymore. Now, Ryan had a really, really good point that anger is greatly energizing. It is.
It can wear you out quick though.
Yep, it can.
But yeah.
Yep, but especially, I mean, this can work in your favor if you can remember this in the moment, because I know it's hard, because it's painful. Mentally, it's taxing and it's painful and it hurts, right? In your mind. So if you can remind yourself, hey, when I'm feeling this anger, I can go do something that's physical Like you talked about wanting to punch stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can do, I know if you go on YouTube, you could look up like kickboxing videos or whatever, and you're just going to be punching the air, right? Punching and kicking the air and stuff like that. But hey, it's a way to get some energy out, and that you will also feel better as a result of doing that. It will help you. And not only that, but it will probably also contribute to helping you continue to lose more than the 20 pounds that you've already lost, which is awesome. You know, so you could use this anger to something beneficial, and it could be really good. So in a way, I'm a little bit jealous because that's where your mind gravitates toward. Now, if I start to gravitate toward depression and despair, those suck the energy right out of you. They like suck your life out. Right? And it's like you don't want to do anything. And it's like, whoa. But at the same time, I know that it's painful and I know that it's hard. But I would definitely, like Ryan said, there'd be anger management might be helpful, but also you might seek a therapist, a counselor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, somebody who deals with this kind of stuff, because I would say anger isn't the issue. I would say anger is the fruit of what else is piling up on you. And sometimes we need a little bit of help. Sometimes, I've been through that before. I was in college. I had a massive nervous breakdown. I ended up in therapy for a while. It was greatly, greatly helpful. I have a lot on my plate right now, and I'll just be candid with you guys. I'm seeking a psychiatrist now because of all the whirlwind of crazy that's going on right now. And so I have I can fully recommend seeking a professional is a good idea. And it depends on what your insurance covers, pricing, there's all kinds of different options out there. And most of the time, just having somebody to talk to who's been trained to read you while you're talking so they can get to the point of what's actually happening. Most of the time when we're describing things, we aren't actually describing the problem. But somebody who's trained to listen and cut through all the haze and get to the actual root of the problem, that could be so, so helpful. Plus, one of the best things ever is to be able to be completely open and honest with somebody about all these things that are going on that we're probably ashamed of and we feel bad about. There are things, excuse me, going on in our lives that we feel bad about. But when we can be open and honest about it to somebody and have them not judge us, that act in and of itself is healing.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the biggest things when I saw a psychologist in college. And I remember sitting there talking to him, and he just listened. And he didn't try to explain how my feeling was off track. He didn't try and explain how I was wrong, or how you're just looking at it the wrong way, or it's actually like this. He didn't explain any. He just listened. And he didn't judge. And then after he got done listening, he would offer some recommendations. But one of the most important things is he never invalidated my feelings. And so I hope that we never do that on this show with you guys. If we do, call us out on it, please. If
Yeah.
because we want to know, because we don't ever want to do that, because your feelings are valid. Your feelings are there. We can't always control what we feel. We can control to some degree what we do with those feelings and how we deal with them. But the feelings that rush in, we can't always control them. So, Baka, I love you, man. I think you are awesome. Every time I've spent with you in VC and on, playing Minecraft has been great. Every time you're here on Don't Worry Wednesday is awesome. You are a very, very valuable person. And yeah, I would just recommend, use the anger like Ryan was talking about. Use it to something productive. And exercise is great. If you feel like punching stuff, you can just start punching the air. If you have some gloves on and you see a wall and you want to just start punching walls, as long try sturdy walls. If you just start punching drywall, I would imagine,
that's gonna give.
you'll break it.
Yeah.
I put a hole in my brother's bedroom door when I was a teenager. I don't think we ever got rid of the door either. It was just always there. We covered it with a poster.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
I walked into a lot of teenage bedrooms with a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah. Yep. There's reasons for that, because it's like, hey, we're trying to figure out what to do with all this emotional whirlwind happening, and so, but yeah, definitely, if you can direct that anger, that's energy, that's a surge of energy, direct it to something productive would be good. And then also maybe find somebody that's a professional that can help you get through to what actually is the issue, because like I said at the beginning, I don't think anger is the issue. I think anger is the manifestation of what the issue is that's underlying. And there's something that's going on underneath it all, that is then manifesting itself as anger. So that's pretty much what I have. Ryan, did you have anything else?
No, I think that's great. I don't really have too much more. I second the idea that there's probably something underneath that's causing this to resurface over and over and over. And you have to try to dig that out. And I think that would be really awesome if you can find the time to do that. And you might need some help doing it, because humans are very complex, and it's not a road you can travel alone most of the time. So I would second that. Also, I don't know, if I'm getting angry, like if I have like that surge of anger, I can imagine myself pounding the keys on a piano, playing a song, or picking up a guitar and trying to play something, right? Turning on some power metal and punching some air, totally. I think that you can turn your anger and let it out without doing any harm, but actually building up something good in you. Because at this point, what you've got is likely, we can't say for sure because we aren't in your head experiencing what you're experiencing, but what is likely the case is you've got something that's out of your control, and then you've got anger, which is also out of your control. So you've got the root of the problem, and you've also got anger, both of them out of your control. And the only thing you have control over is your choice, which lies somewhere in left field, right? And what you can do is you can take that anger, right? And while you don't get to choose to have it, at least while you're trying to figure out what the root is, when that anger comes, you can try to turn it into something that's fruitful and say, hey, you know what? I had this problem and I got ahead by using the problem rather than getting behind because I let the problem use me, right? Use your problem to your advantage, right? In this world, you are going to suffer, and there's going to be plenty of things causing it. But 9 out of 10 times, you can find a way to use it to your advantage. Maybe not immediately. Sometimes it's an investment. Wow, I had trouble saying it, even slowing down. It's an investment. But yeah, you can try to take that anger and build something in you, whether it be losing weight, getting stronger, getting better at a certain instrument, um, writing. Some people write when they're angry, and that comes out um, in a huge like you read it and you feel the anger. It's pretty amazing. It's awesome. But I would also recommend reading the chat. I know that Kendra and Baron and Tara all had really good things to say. So so check out what they said, and yeah, that's what I got.
Yep, I agree. There's a lot of good going on in the chat, and one of the things that I've done before is if I'm angry, depends on what I'm angry at. But usually, if I'm upset or angry with a person, I'll write that person a letter. And I'll just blast them with everything. I'll pour out my heart into that letter. And just say everything that I could possibly want to say. And I'll do that. This is an exercise in, getting it out, right? So like we just kind of just put it all out, write it all down, and explain everything, every detail of everything that I'm just upset about with this person or whatever it is. Or I suppose it would work for things as well. If I was mad at something, I could write the thing a letter.
Yeah, sometimes I vent. Sometimes I get frustrated and I write. Usually it's to people, and I'm like, "This is so dumb. I can't believe this is a function in this game. It shouldn't be." Why is this? This is not okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Totally.
So, but yeah. So then I do something else that's therapeutic for me personally. So I write it all out, and then I burn it.
Don't even send it to him.
Because I like fire.
And then you send them the ashes.
I burn it and then I send it to him while it's burning. No, I'm just kidding.
We got a flaming letter. Here you go. Yeah, it won't stop burning. I don't know.
Yeah, this paper, man, it's long burning paper. Holy cow.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I would definitely, there are things there. One thing also to be aware of is coping mechanisms. Sometimes we do things to cope that sometimes they're healthy, sometimes they're not. Okay. One of the things I've learned about coping mechanisms, and I try to avoid them now as much as I can, just because if I'm just coping with an issue, I'm finding that I'm not usually resolving it.
That's very fair.
Does that make sense? And so there are a lot of coping mechanisms I've used in the past. Self-medication through various forms. Be it alcohol or other kind of drug use, right? So but there are different coping mechanisms, and we can start to rely on those, and they can produce some bad fruit as well. So we have to just watch out, because the thing I've noticed, especially about things that influence our mind, psychotropic substances and stuff like that, is they kind of put us on a mental vacation, which feels great. And sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, this is like, I just needed to be away from this. But then once that effect is gone, the problem comes back. And a lot of times the problem is back even more difficult. And there may be a little guilt because I took that mental vacation. On
top of it, yeah.
Yep. So sometimes, I'm just telling you from my experience that's kind of the things that I've dealt with as I've been going through things. So I keep my eyes open, because it's not just drugs. There can be other coping mechanisms, right? gaming, there can be TV, there can be movies, there can be, eating, there can be, whatever, candy. I, but sugar is a drug anyway, so I mean, so that's drugs.
Well, technically, all food is because you consume them and they do something for you.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But
all food is drugs.
all food is drugs.
I want a sign. I want a big sign in protest in front of the White House. All food is drugs.
Yes.
All food is drugs.
So drive by restaurants. They got good drugs there. They got good drugs there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you ever been to Chick-fil-A? Good drugs.
Good drugs. Wow. Oh man, ever been to KFC? Mad drugs there. Mad drugs.
Actually, yes, I would agree with that. KFC, that's probably actual drugs in there.
Yeah, mad drugs. Tell you what, man.
Especially go to the one on the south side. Oh man, look out.
Well, the south side KFC is a little bit different than the north side.
Yeah, that's normal.
That's true.
But
different drugs.
Yes. Yes. But anyway, so just keep your eyes open, okay? As you're traversing this, just keep your eyes open, because if you're finding something to cope, what happens is it's prolonging it. Okay? Now sometimes I'll say sometimes you need to step away and refocus, right? I get it. But at the same time, make sure that you are still having a plan, because from point A to point B, that's how long it takes to get a problem resolved, right? Anytime we spend a great deal of time running from the problem or avoiding the problem, it just makes that time span longer, right? So I'll just tell you to be aware of yourself. And Baka, you do a lot of self-introspection anyway, so I don't think you'll have a problem with that at all. I think you'll be able to really kind of zero in and be like, okay, yep, these are the things I'm doing. These are the things that I'm not doing. All right. And then, if you have any other questions, you can feel free. Come back with more topics. You're really good at submitting topics,
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it so much. You're amazing. And also remember, my DM's open whenever. You can feel free to DM me on Discord. I know you know where I'm at because we got an open DM already. So anyway, yeah, that's what I had.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
just one last thing.
So, go
yeah,
ahead.
you're the host. One last thing is, along the same line that Joe was just talking about, distinguish your needs from your wants. Spend some time thinking about, what do I need? Now, of course, we have needs as in like food, air, etc. Right? Air as in oxygen, not air as in air. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Air as in Air Jordans.
Yeah, Air Jordans. We have needs, right? And our needs, we need to fulfill those. But sometimes our needs are personality needs, right? I'll tell you what. There are certain personalities where if they're not having fun in their day, it's a bad day. Are you that kind of person? Do you need to have fun for your day to be good? If not, then, and you're fulfilling that need, that's cool, but it's not really a need. You're fulfilling something that's just there. Some personalities, they need to be right. They need to have the truth spoken. And if it's not spoken, or the truth is suppressed, or if they were wrong about something, it is a terrible day, right? And if that's you, make sure that need is fulfilled, right? However you can. If you're a person that needs to have your relationships in order, get them in order. Don't dilly-dally. Don't think, don't like put time off with a relationship to try to figure something out. Get to that, because that's a need. And otherwise, you're just going to be in an emotional mess. And anger is going to come easy. And then there's another personality out there that needs to get things done. If you're not getting things done, it's a bad day and you're going to be a mess. So those are 4 examples. What is it for you? Because you need to look at your days and think about that. What are the points that you need to fulfill for your day to be a good day? And what are the points that, if not fulfilled, is a bad day? Or if fulfilled in the negative way, is a bad day, right? Do some introspection, as you often do, Baka, and try to figure out what it is that makes you tick and fulfill that need. Because if you can do that, your anger is going to be a lot easier to manage and it will come a lot less frequently. That's my last thing for you. I think that that's something that you can start doing immediately and effectively starting now, or whenever we're done with Don't Worry Wednesday, is spend some time thinking about your days. What parts go wrong, and that just makes the whole thing go downhill, and try to find the need in that and fulfill that need every day. So there you go. That's what I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. And thank you, Baka, for the topic. And man, I wish you the best. And as you're journeying this out, one last closing thought is that be patient with yourself. Because sometimes things are complex. And sometimes they take some work and time to unravel. And sometimes they take some time to discover. Because like I said, anger is probably not the real issue. There's probably an issue underlying that's causing it. And so it might take some time to find it. And then it might also take some time to work it out. And so, and this whole time that you're doing this process, you're probably still going to be plagued a little bit by this manifestation of this anger issue. And so be patient with yourself. And this is going to be a great time. I remember I was talking to Ryan just yesterday, and he was talking about how, I was relaying some of the stuff going on with me, and he was like, boy, you've got a lot of chances for forgiveness. It's going to be great. I was like, yeah, you're right. That's going to be awesome. And so, but here you can learn to forgive yourself in this process. It might take some time, might take some, failing a couple times, here and there. But if you can learn to forgive yourself in this process, that's going to be so valuable for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Keep on doing it, because you're going to forgive yourself, then you're going to mess up again, and you're going to have to forgive yourself again.
You will.
Just keep on doing it, because you're going to get better and stronger from doing that.
It's going to be great. So anyway, Baka, thank you again so much. And feel free to reach out at any time, my friend.
Yeah, we love you, Baka.
Yep. So anyway, let's move on. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
It is a great idea. Some time on that. That's the idea I had. So.
Well, that's why it was good, I guess. Now that I think of, that would make sense.
Right. So I'll run down the list real quick one more time. I know a few of you are here, but we've got Ian Lam, Ezekiel Games, Dracon, LG, Toast, Immature Success, Joe B, Anonymous, another Anonymous, the Anonymous Poet, and Meow. And I think the Anonymous Poet is here, and Meow is here as well. So maybe we can do both of those. What do you think?
Yeah, let's try it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We're gonna make it. It's gonna be awesome. We still got an hour and some change.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So yeah, we'll start with the Anonymous Poet. It's called "What's Love Worth?" This ought to be a really, really good one. I think Ryan is gonna love this one, won't you?
I'm gonna love it for what it's worth.
You're hilarious.
I think that was the best wit I've ever had in my life. So I hope you guys are applauding me at your chairs right now.
Well done.
Yeah, thanks. All right, sorry guys. I was poor.
It was beautiful.
It was wonderful.
You did great. Let's check the link. What do you say? Right. Link check.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, looks good. Yes. All right. So, Princess, take it away.
Cool. So this is What is Love Worth by Anonymous Poet. Seemingly on, things continue circling with nothing but this pain like a carousel of agony. Slowly I forget, and my heart starts vanishing, and all that I can see is that I can't break free. I'm slipping through the cracks towards a dark eternity with nothing left to love, just paralyzing agony, to ask me who I am, who I was, uncertainty enveloping my mind. I can't break free. And maybe it's a dream. Maybe nothing here is real. Nothing seems to mean a thing if you felt the way I feel. So I'm tired of all the pain, of the misery inside, wishing I could live feeling nothing but the night. Could you tell me what to say? Could you tell me where to go? I don't know that I will care, fearing love will never grow. If I make another move, there may be no more turning back, because everything would change and it all would fade to black. Will tomorrow ever come? Will I make it through tonight? Could there ever be a place for the broken in the light? I am hurting, I am sad. Can I stay or should I go? I've forgotten how to tell. Did I ever even know? Must I take another step? I've done everything I can. All the people that I see, their love I will never understand. But if I found a way to change, if I stepped into the light, then I'd never be the same, and it all would fade to white. This time you don't get to hurt me. This time I will take a stand. This love feels like it's not worth even a single grain of sand. With resentment in my eyes, raining sorrow across the land, standing lonely in the night, darkness surrounds on all sides, looking deep inside myself to reveal only fright. If I make another move, if I take another step, then I would fall apart. There'd be nothing of me left. I'm crying in the wind. I'm crying day and night. Will love ever find a way? Will my heart return to white? Could you tell me who you are? Can you tell me where I am? I've forgotten how to see. I've forgotten if I can. If I opened up my eyes, there'd be no more going back, 'cause I'd throw it all away, and it all would fade to black. So I'm back here once again, always returning now and then. Can I ever make a change? Will my heart begin to mend? Would you love me if I left? It feels like a heart attack, but still everything's the same, and it all just fades to black. From the anonymous poet.
Mm.
Dang.
Wow.
That was
Anonymous
really well written.
Yes, thank you. And
Wow.
very well read too, Princess.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Yes. Wow, there's so much here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I can think of lots of times. I can think in my life and I can see moments where I've felt, a lot of the same ways that is in this poem. Like there are areas and there's different stuff in there, and I can think back to moments in my life when I'm like, yep, I remember feeling like that. I remember feeling like that. And yeah, wow. First of all, thank you so much for the topic, anonymous poet, I should say. And wow. And I'm sorry you find yourself in this place. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's dark, and it's difficult, and it's painful. And my heart goes out to you because I understand. And I wish I could reach out and hug you, because I don't know. I think it would be good. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot in here. I'm gonna just step out of Ryan's way and let him get going.
All right. Well,
I'm not even gonna give you a chance to think about it and collect your thoughts. I'm just gonna.
No, that was good. That's fine.
I just want to hear off the cuff, Ryan.
Let me undo my cuffs here. My first reaction is I wanted to applaud. I didn't know if that was appropriate, but I was like, wow, that was stinking good. Way to go, whoever anonymous poet is. Phenomenal writing. Continue writing. Like, we were just talking about taking your anger and turning it into something good, right? Something useful to you so that you are gaining from your experience of pain, right? And here, Anonymous, you have just done that. You have done that very well. You've taken your misery, your pain, your experience, which is in suffering, right? And you've turned it into something advantageous. You've turned it into something beautiful. And that's like this poem. And I'm sure you've done this many times before. I would have to guess because of the quality of this. Okay. So if anything, keep doing that. there's something said of, you know, a lot of the greatest poets, a lot of the greatest songwriters, a lot of the greatest, most things that touch us emotionally,
Mm.
right, are from people at a time in their life where they are in great sorrow or feeling like you're kind of explaining here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know if it's sorrow, it's just emptiness. And that
Mm-hmm.
emptiness is not okay, right? It doesn't feel good to be empty.
Mm-mm.
You want something more. It just kind of, because it makes life feel, why are you here? What are you doing? Right. Um, and that sucks. So I just want to say, keep doing that. Keep writing, not keep, not not stay broken.
Mm.
Of course, um, we're all broken, but I don't mean it like that. You know, I just mean keep writing, because you've got a real talent here, and I hope you continue to utilize this talent as you journey through your life, whether it be just to touch the hearts of others who read it, or to express yourself in a journal, um, or to make money off of it. It doesn't really matter, but continue to use it. I think it's a great talent, and you're doing a wonderful job. So that out of the way, let's get on to the subject here. You know, I had a saying. It's not a strict saying. You don't have to. There's no quote exactly to it, but sometimes in life, you have to reach through the darkness to get what you cannot see, so that you can have, so that you can find what you did not know you could have, what you would find. There are many times in life where everything is just black, whether it be in front of you. Maybe you're standing in a position that feels like, okay, I know what's around me, I'm comfortable with this, but if I take another step in that direction, I don't know what's going to happen, and that's scary. It's all black, it's all the unknown, right? And sometimes that's the case, and sometimes it's the other case where you're already in it and you're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't feel pulled in any direction. I don't even, everything is just, there's just darkness all around me. But in either of those cases, sometimes you have to just start reaching and feeling for what's there. Because the thing is, what else are you going to do, right? You can't see anyways. But sometimes what I mean to say is, if you stand still and you don't reach into that darkness, you lose the chance to gain whatever was in it. I already see in a way you are using this darkness to your advantage. Like I said, in the poetry, right? You're taking this suffering and you're using it to increase in talent, in the writing and in the writing of words, and getting across an emotion and a feeling in a very beautiful way that moves people, right? It's great. Um, and that will help rhetoric. Rhetoric is how you speak to people, and you can use that to take um, to deal with people better in your life. So poetry actually does help with rhetoric, with people skills, right? So you're already doing that, but what I mean is to take steps through the darkness. Sometimes you have to embrace it, right? You have to say, this is what it is, and it's not going to change unless I start walking through it. A lot of times when we're clouded by all this darkness, what happens is we seize up.
Mm-hmm.
We stop moving because we don't know where to move. Because we don't know, since we don't know where to move, we're afraid to move, or we're not energized to move. There's nothing that's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, it would be so fun. There's none of that. We're just there, and we're like, well, here I am. Nothing pulling me in any direction. Sometimes you just have to embrace that and recognize that now you're kind of in an adventure of its own. If you can recognize that you're in a place where there is no directional pull, It's kind of like you've just jumped into an open world where you can do whatever you want. Now, obviously, what you do is going to be good or bad, and so make sure you do the good things, right? Make sure you are doing things that build you, right? But what you do in this environment where it's just all black, you can start moving around in it and find things that you can grow attached to. Find the objects in the room. A blind person, imagine you are blind in this scenario, right? Everything around you is black, but there are things in the room. You just can't see them, right? And so you're blind and you or just close your eyes in a room, whatever, you can feel that experience. And you walk around and you start to familiarize yourself with everything in the room by feeling around, right? And you start to notice the room is full of great things. But you wouldn't have known that if you didn't move around, right? If you didn't start feeling around. And so I urge you to, in this moment, in this period of your life where everything seems bleak, where it feels like there's no hope, where it feels like there's no emotion or pull in any good direction, find those things that are near you, but you don't know are there. Embrace that darkness. Don't be afraid of it. Don't let it seize you up, but allow it to move you. And it's kind of hard, and I get that. But to do that in practice means to get outside your comfort zone. Do things that maybe you wouldn't normally do. Here's the thing. If you want happiness in life, because what you just described is quite despairing, right? Despair is a sense of emptiness. It's a lack of hope, right? Despair is ultimately a lack of hope. Mm-hmm. But what does a lack of hope bring but emptiness? Mm-hmm. And that's what you're left with. If there is no hope, hope creates all things. All things are created in hope. The only reason anyone does anything is out of hope, out of expectation. Expectation is just another form of hope. Hope creates all things. But without hope, there's emptiness. So despair creates nothing. Mm-hmm. Despair actually creates something called nothing. It is the abyss. And it consumes everything. Mm-hmm. And in this darkness, and until it's covered it all and it all looks like nothing. But the truth is, it's still there. Whether it's covered up or not, it's still there. You have to reach through the abyss and grab it and go, oh, no, this is here. I just couldn't see it because I was despairing. Despair is only a state of mind. It's a perception of the world around you, right? You can either be hopeful or you can be despairing. The world is what it is, regardless of your feelings. And it's important to know that, because the world is amazing. But if you think the world is crappy, you're going to feel like crap. But if you think the world is amazing, you're going to feel amazing. There's a lot of keys to happiness. But happiness is ultimately satisfaction of self. Long-lasting happiness is when you're satisfied with who you are on the inside. So one of the best things I can recommend here is, if you want to get out of this despair, this emptiness, build the one place that emptiness can't reach you. And I say it can't reach you because no matter where you are, there you are. And you can feel that you exist. You're experiencing that you exist. So when nothing else feels like anything, you can still notice yourself feeling nothing. You notice yourself, right? So build in yourself. How do you build in yourself? You just work on yourself. You work on the virtues. You start getting outside your comfort zone. You do those things which are hard. But when you do those things which are hard, you become proud of yourself. You look at yourself and you're like, I did that. Right? And you can't be depressed and proud of yourself at the same time. It's actually impossible.
Mm-hmm.
For those moments, maybe your proudness only lasts for a moment, but in that moment, you're not depressed. The depression can come back, right? Sure. But how do you remove depression forever? Well, there's no guarantee on that, but you can remove it for long periods of time if you commit to making yourself stronger, better, wiser. And it's not an easy task. But, well, I shouldn't say that. It's easy to do. It's actually easy to work on yourself. The hard part is starting. Right? It's actually easy. Like, I remember when I started to work on myself so that I wouldn't be depressed, because I figured out I was depressed and I was like, okay, I'm depressed. What do I do? All right, I need to start working on myself so that I can be proud of myself, so that I can be satisfied with myself. That's what happiness is. It's satisfaction with self and generally the world around you. But you can't always be promised that the world around you is going to be satisfactory.
Mm-hmm.
So really it all just depends on, are you satisfied with who you are? A lot of times. So I remember when I was depressed, I was like, okay, I need to start working on myself. So I made a plan. I said, this is my plan. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I'm going to start now, right? The hardest part was getting to that point where I committed to doing something that would improve myself. And it could be anything like picking up a pencil for someone who drops it. Usually I would be like, oh, I don't want to pick up that pencil. They'll look at me. And then they'll be reminded that that they don't like me. And then I'll be reminded that they don't like me. And that's going to stink. No, pick up the stinking pencil. It's a nice act, regardless of how they feel about you or you feel about them. And you know what? Picking up that pencil was so easy. I just bent down. It was like a 2-step process. Bend down, grab. Oh, wait, 3 steps. Bend down, grab, bend back up. And then, I guess, hand them the pencil. So 4 steps. Okay, whatever. Easy. Or 1-step pencil. You could do it. You could turn it into a 1-step process. Pick up the pencil, right? It's easy. It was actually incredibly easy to do it. What was the hard part? Getting over myself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, the thing that holds us back is really just ourselves. And the abyss is a lie, right? This whole despair thing, it's a lie, right? Because it wants to tell you that there's nothing. But the truth is, there's something there. There's a lot. When we go, oh, I couldn't do that, they would look at me, and then you start to despair. You start to lose hope in yourself because you are afraid to pick up a pencil for someone, right? Even though it's a good act, it's an act of kindness, right? And you're worried about them looking at you and all that kind of stuff. To say that's despair, that's a lie. Why? Because it's actually just fear, right? We're afraid, right? It is despair. We become despairing. We become unhopeful. We're like, oh no, that, all these things will turn out bad, right? But it's a lot of times, it's us holding ourselves back, right? And there's a lot in us. There's a lot we're capable of. And we're being lied to that we're not capable. And we've been lying to ourselves. And so despair is a lie. Because even if we think there's nothing out there, even if we lose all hope in all things, the world keeps on ticking.
Mm-hmm.
The world keeps on ticking, baby. It doesn't stop. The only thing that matters is that world's going to keep on ticking. Are you going to seize the opportunities that lead you to becoming an honorable, an awesome person? Or are you not going to seize those opportunities? Right? Because if you aren't satisfied with who you are, a lot of times it's your fault. And I know that because that was my experience. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you've grown up in a really hard place and people have been lying to you your whole life and telling you you're crap and all that kind of stuff. And it's not really your fault. Okay? That's not your fault that you think. A lot of times, I think even for me in my example and how I grew up, a lot of my problems weren't my fault. They were problems that were given to me before I understood how to solve them. And then I started solving them the wrong way, right? And so if that's what you're going through, that's not your fault. But what is your fault is your ability to move forward. And I don't mean to say you're not moving forward is your fault. What I'm saying is when you choose to move forward, that's your fault. And you can take happy blame for that. All right. So sometimes you just have to look at yourself and say, no, that's not real. There's a lot out there. It might feel black just because I can't see it, but it's there. Even if I don't think it is, it's there. Am I going to seize the opportunity? Or am I going to let hope cause me to stay this way my whole life? Because despair just wants that. Despair just wants nothing from you. And you'll never get anything from it.
Mm-hmm.
And the less you give to it, the less you'll get back, in life. So don't let despair decide for you. And you know all this. But sometimes it just really helps to hear it. Whoever you are, anonymous poet, I'm sure you know all of this. But sometimes it just really helps to hear it. And it helps to hear there's someone else out there who's gone through it before. I can tell you, I can promise you that I have. I've been there for years. I know Joe's been there. I know sometimes life brings you back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you come back to despair sometimes and you're like, oh yeah, I'm here again. And you have to remember, what did I do last time? Oh yeah, that's right. I went out and I saw that there was good in the world by seizing those opportunities that were good, that could build me up to become good. I've said it many times on the show. We are human beings. We are flawed. We have a lot of issues. We weren't built to be perfect. Maybe you're religious, maybe you're not, but in the Bible it says God made us and he called it good. Mm-hmm. He didn't say it was perfect, but he said it's good. Well, if good is good enough for him, then it's got to be good enough for me. So go out there and chase the good. Chase the good in life. And you'll find as you chase that good and you become goodness yourself, the more good you become, the more proud of yourself you tend to be, right? Because you see yourself as a force for good. And that goodness creates more good in the world. So too does despair. Evil begets evil. Good begets good. Or if you want to, holiness begets holiness. If you do evil acts in the world, it tends to have evil results, which cause more people to become evil and do evil things, and it's not a good loop. And it's the same thing for good. When you do good things in the world, your brain starts thinking differently, and you start to be more aware of the good things around you, and you start to seize those opportunities more and more, and it becomes a cycle, right? And it's a cycle of hope where you can feel and see that light. But how do you start? That's the question. I guess the question isn't how you're going to start. There's plenty of opportunities around you to start being good. And to seize that. Not that you aren't a good person, by the way. I'm positive that you are. But to hope instead of despair, how do you seize that? How do you start making that transformation? And again, it's just a matter of perception. How do you see the world? Start to recognize that the world isn't black, despite that being how you see it. It's full of wonderful good things. And as I said before, how you feel in the world is going to be how you feel about yourself living in it. So it's important to have your perception right. People say, opinions are opinions. They don't really matter. But I'll tell you, there can be good opinions and bad opinions. If your opinions cause you to hate yourself, if your opinions cause you to hate others, if your opinions cause bad things like despair and depression, and your opinions probably aren't good. In fact, they're probably wrong. And that's okay because we've all had bad opinions.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, now's your chance to change them. Right? I mean, that's true. I'm sorry, I'm being a little blunt, but
Yeah, you're a
I
blunt
had to be
instrument
blunt.
right now.
Yeah, I had to be blunt with myself so that I could start. I had to be honest and blunt with myself before I could get over my experiences with depression and despair. I had to be honest with myself and go, yo, like, Brian, get with it. I had to be a little hard on myself. So that's why I'm being a little hard on you. But yeah, sorry. Anyways, I've talked for quite a while. Like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I don't know. Sorry, it's a big topic and there's so much to talk about here. And I didn't even get to the name of the topic, which is what is love worth? So I just talked about despair and hope. But hope is important. And it might be more of the root cause of all of this than love itself. We live in a world that is despairing. I listened to a CD recently. It was talking about the disparity of hope in our world, how much we lack it, and that's a huge root to why so many people are depressed. We have a lot of people who can love, but without hope, sometimes what you need is hope. But love is very important as well. So maybe Joe wants to talk about that. I don't know what he wants to talk about. I'm going to give it over to him and see what it is.
I'm going to see what it is. I'm going to just...
You're going to wing it. You're going to off the cuff it?
Yeah, I'm going to off the cuff. I don't even have any cuffs.
So see, I totally actually did off the cuff. I was brutal.
Dude, you were. I was impressed.
Yeah.
That was good stuff. I do want to say one thing, though. I was listening to what you said, and it's all true. Despair is a lie. It is a misconception. It is something that we... it comes upon us. I don't think we necessarily choose it.
Right. No. Yeah, and it's not our fault.
Nope. And I love what you said, that the world is what it is, no matter how we view it. Right? If we view it through the lens of despair, it's still the same as if we view it through a lens of joy and happiness. But the perception is totally different, right? And there was one thing you said, the world's going to keep ticking. It's going to keep going on. And you're absolutely right. And I know there are times in despair when that statement can be hard because it's like, well, the world's going to keep going anyway. I'll just take myself out of it. It's not going to matter. Or what, and that leads to more despair, and it kind of perpetuates the spiral. So it's tough. What is love worth? Love is worth this. We've talked a lot about love. What is love? Love is wanting... Baby, don't hurt me. Love is...
Thank you. I had that urge as well. Like... What is love?
So, love is desiring the greatest good for another person. When we love someone, we desire that person's greatest good. Ryan and I had a talk about love on the phone not too long ago, and we were talking about different kinds of love. And, there's, There's filial love, which is like brotherly love. There's family love. There's the unconditional love. And then there's romantic love. And, it's funny because anytime society talks about love in like the commercials or in TV or in movies, it's romance, what they're talking about. But romance is the easiest one of the 4 different kinds of love to misuse and to be cheapened through selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
And to devolve into lust, basically. Romantic love has a place. It has a purpose. There's good in there, yes. But it's also the least secure because it easily tilts toward self-seeking behavior rather than self-sacrificing behavior. Whereas the other ones, there are times when in family situations somebody can be selfish in their family. They can be grabby with trying to keep their family members with them and not let them become who they're supposed to be, right? Because they want them for themselves. I've seen that happen. In brotherly love, it's the same type of thing, but the urges I don't think are as strong in those kinds of love as in romantic love. But then there's the 4th kind, which is agape or agape, the unconditional love, which by definition is immune to the self-seeking, selfish behavior. Because that love, which is the highest of all kinds of love, is the self-sacrificing love. The one that gives of self for the good of another and loves them regardless of the pain that's being caused. It's, honestly, I've got 2 boys and I can't imagine not loving them. Doesn't matter what they did. Doesn't matter. I remember putting my kids to bed and they had already been in martial arts for a while. They were halfway up the belt ranks. And I leaned in to give my son a hug and he kicked me in the stomach. And I was not prepared for it. I still love him.
I love you a little less now.
That hurt really bad, right? So I think I probably punched him in the knee, but since we're all sparring now at bedtime.
Bedtime sparring.
But anyway, so love is worth this pain. Now, despair, like Ryan was talking about, it's empty. It's empty in there. It is so hard. And I've got lots of experience there. And it stinks. Because you have no energy to do anything. You don't want to do anything. It's just empty and dark. And you're like, what matters? Nothing matters. Who cares about any of it? Because none of it matters. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest act of love in history that's recorded was the crucifixion of Jesus. Whether you're religious or not, that was a historical event. And it was a horrendous event. Because crucifixion in and of itself is horrendous. I mean, you hang somebody up like this, and they hang there until they suffocate. They don't bleed to death, which would take a lot less time. You know, it's not like getting shot in the head or even getting hung. Like sometimes people would be up there for days. Days and days and days. Now, when you see depictions, I'm going to get gross here, so parental discretion is advised.
Go grab your parents, right? Quick.
Like, seriously, they would, when we see, you know, the crucifixion, we see the cross way up high, you know, up in the air, you know, tall crosses. No. Historically, that was not the case. Historically, they kept them close to the ground so the dogs could eat the people as they were hanging there. Like, but the whole point of that form of execution was suffering, was pain, was to show an example for anybody in the Roman Empire who saw, and it was very public, it was humiliating. There's talk, hey, they said people, you know, we always see Jesus up there with a loincloth on. There's a lot of speculation that says these people had nothing on. They were completely naked.
Yes.
So it was humiliating. It was excruciating. It took forever. Days to die. And Jesus that was done to him unjustly. He was not a seditionist. And he willingly maneuvered himself into the position of being crucified because he knew that act was going to be redemptive in the spiritual sense, right? In the eternal, everlasting sense. And while he was on there, he said some pretty despairing things. He said, my God, why have you forsaken me? You know, so, and, you know, he was pretty close with God, right? But then in that time, it was so distant and so despairing that he felt just separated. And, you know, love is worth suffering. It's worth suffering for. There was a statement said in the Static P Friends server on Discord. I think Senna and Barrow. Are they married?
No.
Not married yet? Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. But I remember the first time it was recounted in there. The first time Barrow asked Senna out was, "Hey, you want to suffer together?"
That's right. That's how he asked. Brilliant.
It's so true. But, you know, that's kind of what love is. It's, you know, suffering. You're going to go through painful times. But you know what happens? You know, when we go through pain, it hurts, obviously. But what happens there is also growth. You know, we grow as a result of the suffering. It's the same thing with exercise. We put our muscles through pain and they grow. Same thing with suffering. We don't always know, though, on the other side. I love what Ryan said at the very beginning of his commentary, where he was talking about sometimes you have to reach out in the darkness for something that you don't know is there in order to have what you never knew existed.
You said it better than I did.
That was beautiful. That's what you said, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, good job.
Oh, I was gonna say.
But you said it more succinctly.
Oh, okay. Yep. I love that. Sometimes you have to reach out in the midst of darkness for something you can't see in order to have what you never knew existed. Because the truth of the matter is we don't know the future. We don't know what we're being built for. However, I can tell you that suffering in this way is building you for something. And there's an encouraging thought in there, because I remember a guy saying the deeper the struggle, the greater the triumph. So if it hurts more, the triumph will be greater, the victory will be greater. So if you're going through a time that really, really is hard, your heart's broken into a million pieces, and feel like it's just getting stomped on over and over and over again on a daily basis. I know how that feels. But you know, as despair starts to set in, I would remember those words from Ryan. Reach out. Because what you might get as a result might be greater than the thing that you feel you've lost here, right? I mean, because a lot of this poem, there seems to be something about, lost love, something like that. So maybe you lost love, but maybe in reaching out, there will be a greater love that you never knew was there. But you never would have grabbed it if you didn't reach out. Another thing, I love the reach out part. Sometimes that means reach out to a friend. Sometimes we're in a dark spot, and being alone is one of the worst things ever. But nobody else knows what's going on in our mind but us. So our friends don't generally just reach out to us and say, hey, are you doing okay? Sometimes it's up to us to make the phone call or type the message and reach out. And I know that if your friends are anything like me, and I consider all you guys that are here, I consider you guys my friends, even though, I read your words. Some of you I've talked to. But if you're here in the chat, you're my friend. I'm sorry.
Whoops.
And man, if you're having a struggle, if any of you feel like you wanted to reach out to me in a direct message, I would be so honored. I would want to do everything I could to help. So that's a welcome invitation to all of you. If you're having trouble finding a friend, you can DM me. I'd be happy to talk to you. There it is. Joe Anderson, 6992 on Discord. And, if I can offer any encouragement, if I can just offer some perspective, whatever, I'd be happy to help, because I know the darkness of despair, like Ryan was talking about. It is so hard. But yeah, reaching out in it is tough. But that's exactly what needs to happen. But anyway, now I've talked for a long time, so I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan.
We did it.
I don't think we're going to do another topic. But Ryan?
Yeah, Joe did a phenomenal job speaking about love. I want to continue a little bit with that. Here's the thing. What is love worth? When I can say this, love, to truly love, I'm going to go back to Joe's example of Jesus on the cross. When Jesus loved us, he gave everything. Everything. He gave everything he had, and he lost it all to death. But he didn't just die, he was painful. He lost his dignity. It was taken from him. He was stripped naked and baked, put on the cross. Love, I, you know, I'm only using that example in case you are religious. But here's the thing. Love, to truly love, might take everything you've got. Because love is probably worth more than everything you can ever give. And it's a strong statement, but it's true. First of all, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for love. You wouldn't exist. Love gives reason to our suffering. A world without love, but with suffering, no. There'd be no, humanity would not, no. We wouldn't be here. We would have, the first humans, gone. Like, no, I'm out. But love without suffering, what's that worth? If it didn't take anything to love, love wouldn't be worth anything, because you wouldn't have to give for it. You wouldn't have to do anything for it, and love was free. It's just the case, right? We have unconditional love, which is free, yes, but unconditional love isn't free for the person giving it. It's free for the person receiving it.
Mm-hmm.
To love might take everything you got, because it's worth probably more than everything you could give. Mm-hmm. Because here's why. It doesn't mean that you're worth less than love, and that you should be trampled on and allow yourself to suffer for no good reason whatsoever for the sake of love. No. But here's the thing about love. Because you have to love yourself too, right? And I say that. You have to love yourself too. That's important. Don't just love others and not love yourself. That's not true love anyways, right? There's truth to, you have to love yourself before you can truly love others. There is truth to that. It doesn't mean you can't love others before you love yourself, but it means that if you've ever come to loving yourself, you'll find that your love grows stronger for everybody else. The reason being that if you don't love yourself, who are you focused on? Yourself. When you don't love yourself, you look at yourself and you say all these bad things all the time about anything anyone ever says is a bad thing about you. You see someone laughing in the room and they point in your general direction, you assume it's about you, and it's because you don't think well of yourself and you don't love yourself. It's hard to love others when you're so concentrated on how bad you are, right? So it's important to love yourself. How do you do that? That's another talk. But because that's a big, long talk. But here's the thing. As I was trying to get to, if you love someone, why is it worth more than you can even give, suffer through? Why is it worth everything? Because, well, one, the more you give into love, the more greatness you create in the world. But love isn't just something that happens once, it's exponential. It continues beyond you and grows. There's a great song that's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's a hymn in the Catholic Church. It's probably in other churches too. And it's called The Summons. And I urge you, if you've never heard it, anonymous poet, look up The Summons. The Summons. And you should be able to find it. If you can't find it with the words The Summons, type in Catholic hymn, The Summons. I can't remember who it's by at the moment. But in there, they describe love. And one of the beautiful statements is, in in the song they're talking about love, and one of the most beautiful statements is that they say, I grow in you and you grow in me. That's a beautiful thing. As we give love to others, let's say we love someone and they move on without us, right? We never talk to them again. That love that you gave them, it wasn't worthless. That continues with them for the rest of their whole entire existence. Not just life. If you believe in the afterlife, that continues with them into eternity. That's love. And so there's nothing more bigger, more valuable than that. If you can take a moment to love someone, you grow in them and they grow in you. And that is forever. You change that person's life. You change the route of their history, that memory. You put yourself into their life and you make it better. And that's love. And it's worth suffering for, because that's incredible that you have that power as a human being. You shouldn't be allowed to have that kind of power. I mean, let's be honest, because you're going to mess up a lot of things.
Especially if you're like me, I'm good at messing things up. Just ask my kids.
Right.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's my job.
That's
my
right.
job description.
my job description is I mess things up. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks, Kathleen. That's awesome. Toast for love. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is love worth? That's my answer. I hope that answer is appealing, and I hope that answer compels you forward out of your despair, because you have the chance, and you've probably already done it. In fact, I know you have. I know you've loved people before, whoever you are, and you've affected those people's lives. So if you're worrying about the past, if you had a love that's gone now, they're not there. You had friends, they're gone. Whatever it is, know that what you did lasts until eternity. Whenever you took the chance to love. Okay? So don't ever think that, oh geez, it was hopeless. It was pointless. It was not. That love will always be there. And it's a beautiful thing, because it changed them. Even if you thought, I didn't change them. It did. It did.
Mm-hmm.
I can promise you. And they changed you. And if it's not that, sorry. But if it is that, if that's part of your despair, I want you to know that's important. I encourage you to listen to the summons. I can't remember. Oh, there it is. Thanks, Princess. I encourage you to listen to that song. It's a very beautiful song. Listen well to the lyrics. Of course, it's a Catholic hymn, so it's about God, but it's about love. So, yeah, that's what I got. And we're at an hour 52 or more. So anyways, back to you, Joe. I think we have time for one more topic, right? No.
I think we would do well to leave it right there.
Okay.
Because that was beautiful. We're toasting to love. We have wine, ice cream, beer. We need some food.
There's coffee.
I got chips.
Chips. I've got pretzels. They're empty. It's like an empty bag.
And I got a coffee cup, but it's got water in it.
I've got cookies.
Yeah, cookies.
I don't have toast. Otherwise, I toast with toast.
I have fast-acting dairy digestive.
Oh, fantastic. I've got this elegant bottle of ashes.
Ooh.
They're from palm leaves. They're not people ashes. Don't worry. They're not human ashes.
Yes. You shouldn't eat at
and
your
I don't
desks.
eat them.
Thank you. But where else am I going to eat?
By the way, I do eat at my I eat at my desk, but I haven't eaten those pretzels. They've been there for like a week.
Yeah, we're probably bad examples of eating at your desk. At first, when I read that, Crescendo, I was like, you guys shouldn't eat your desks.
Eat your desks. Yeah, don't eat your desks.
No, because then I won't have it anymore.
Yeah.
That's going to be bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can't eat at it. You eat your desk. When are you going to be able to eat at it anymore? It's going to be gone.
Uh-huh.
No, actually, I agree with that, Crescendo. Lately, I've been eating away from my computer so that I don't get distracted, like watching YouTube or whatever. I think that's a bad habit. So I've been trying to eat elsewhere.
I find it makes you want to eat more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because you always want to watch more.
If you always want to watch more, it's dissatisfying, is what it is. Because you do it to satisfy yourself, right? You're like, oh, this should be great pleasure. I've got food, I've got entertainment, and you dig into both. And at the end of it, you're like, I want more. It wasn't enough, right? And so you're really just guiding yourself down a road to a lot of time spent doing a whole lot of nothing. You know, that's my experience. If you guys don't have that experience, then awesome.
Hey, that's all right. But anyway, thank you so much, Anonymous Poet. I hope that we did your topic justice. I hope so. That it made a difference for you, and that I mean, I know I pulled a lot out of what Ryan was saying. I didn't really learn much from what I said because I already knew.
You said a lot of great things too, Joe.
Well, thank you.
Don't even doubt yourself.
Well, I didn't learn anything because
right.
I was talking about stuff I knew.
You learned so much from yourself. You shut up, Joe. Don't even.
I always learn a lot from Ryan. I don't learn much from me because, you know, I'm.
I learn a lot from me. I'm gonna be honest, but more so I learn from the Holy Spirit because I just try to open myself up and say what comes out, and I blame it on Him. So.
Yeah, there are those. It's great when you're just talking and you know, like all of a sudden you say stuff. It's like, wow, that sounded really good. That came out of my mouth. What?
Yeah. And then you learn from yourself in those moments, but it's not really, you didn't really learn from yourself. You just allowed yourself to learn from the Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what? Joe Ryan put what Princess said in static peak quotes. What did Princess say? Don't eat those ashes.
Don't eat those ashes, Ryan.
Wait, you can't put that in the static peak quotes?
Nope. That's part of the rules, is for the quotes that you don't quote yourself. Ryan is immune to that, probably.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Otherwise, main rules: don't quote yourself. Follow all the normal rules.
Okay.
So. Got it.
All right. Because I was like, wait, you're a mod. Is there
you're
anything
a mod,
you can't do?
No, I can physically do it, but it's against the rules, and I am very much a rule follower.
Yes.
So. It wouldn't be against the rules if you quoted Soaking Pillow saying Joe or Ryan and then put your own quote in the thing.
Well, that's not
but that
exactly
wouldn't be a direct
what
quote.
They said. So I would have to do it where Soaking Pillow quoted
Soaking
me.
Pillow, could you quote Princess real quick?
No, I'm not doing it that way. You can't make me.
I'll do it.
Awesome. Thanks,
That's
Joe.
fine.
You're awesome.
It's fine.
Thanks, Joe.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, we should wrap up the show.
Yes, yeah, we totally should. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for the topics. Baka and Anonymous Poet, man, we had a lot to chew on with those two.
Yeah, sorry. We only got to two of them. But
yeah. Meow. Sorry we didn't get to yours. We will get to yours on next week. So, yes. It'll be good.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, absolutely. So, Ash is asking where the ashes came from.
They're from palms.
Palm fronds.
Palms that were
from Palm Sunday.
Yeah, from Palm Sunday. They were blessed. I just have them.
Yeah, they're the same kind of ashes that we get on Ash Wednesday.
Exactly.
In the form of a cross.
It's those exact ashes. Yeah.
Yep.
But thank you all for coming. We couldn't have this show without your love and support.
Absolutely. And come back next week where we're going to be talking about your stuff again. And it's going to be great. We're going to go on a wild journey, and it's going to be fun. So until then, you guys have a great, great week. And even after then, continue having a great week. I don't want to say stop after that.
Yeah, I used to tell people have a great life, but people would be like, "You're never seeing me again." I'd be like, "No, I'm just telling. I just want your whole life to be great. Okay, it's
Until
fine, right?"
then, yeah. And then we
Always.
say, wait.
There's no until. It's just please the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely. But all right. Well, hey, you guys have a great time. We'll talk to you next Wednesday right here on Don't Worry Wednesday. Until then, see you later.
Bye-bye. Peace.